So today, I just really want to touch up on something that I mentioned briefly in my last video, which is the relationship between the size of the game that you have on Battlefield 4 and the way that game performs. And the fact that, certainly from my experiences, it seems if you get into a smaller game, a server of say 24, 28 players, and it's just infantry on infantry, you get a much better performance, much better hit reg, much better network performance, fewer one-hit kill bugs, things like that, than you would on, say, a 64-man game of Conquest with all vehicles. And it seems like if you go on to the bigger games, it gets to a point where there's almost like a threshold, and you go over that threshold and the game starts to struggle with processing everything all at once. And I mentioned that this may be due to the fact that DICE have tried to please everyone. They went out with the right thing in mind, to get everyone satisfied, get everything into one game, have these epic battles with both vehicles and infantry all in one massive, massive place. Sticking Levolution on top and trying to make it the most immersive experience possible. The problem is they just were not given the time to get it out smoothly. And the problem they have now is the fact that they've got to try and fix these issues while the game is rolled out, while people are playing it. So they've got to try and fix the issues while people are playing the game and while they're keeping it up and running. So it makes it even harder and makes it a much longer experience. Whereas, had they been given a bit more time, they could have fixed the issues much quicker while the game was still with them and not with us. But it does seem that game size has a massive effect on the actual performance of the game. I'm not sure what this is like for you guys on console, but it certainly seems a way on PC, and myself and my friends have had good discussions about this and all come to the same conclusion that, 24, 28-man domination runs much smoother than, say, a 64-man game of Conquest because the maps are smaller and there's less things to be processed all at the same time. And we know now the issue is actually with, servers and clients interacting, and the more stuff that's going on, the more network interactions there are, the more there is to process, and it slows the game down because the tick rate needs to be worked on, which is being worked on at the moment. So when we've got a better tick rate, we may see things become smoother in the bigger game modes. But at the moment, it does seem to be it's those smaller game modes where you get the best performance, which is not an issue for me because I love domination. I used to like Team Deathmatch. I'm not as big a fan of it on Battlefield 4 because it is just a case of which team can camp better than the other. So for me, Team Deathmatch has lost a bit since Battlefield 3, but domination is awesome, much better than it was on Battlefield 3. So it does suit me. I would like to play 32-man every now and then, but that does seem to be the threshold where things start to go a little bit to shit. But it does also seem like there's almost a point in a server as well where me and my friends have all noticed this. You'll be playing a server for 4, 5, 6 games, having a really good time, and then it almost gets to a point where, now my friend thinks it might be when a high ping joins the game, but it gets to a point where suddenly the server just goes down the toilet and there's one-hit kill bugs, the network performance, you're getting shot behind cover. So it may not just be game size as well, it's such a complicated issue, but it does seem to me the winning formula to get good, smooth performance is to go on those smaller games, which is a shame if you like Conquest because the maps are so big for Conquest now, anything less than at least 32 players just feels empty. You probably want even more than that for a good game of Conquest, so you can sometimes have to sacrifice the performance of the game in order to make the map not feel empty for those bigger game modes. So it's a really, really complicated topic, and it's something I could talk about for a very long time, but I'm going to keep it brief. And I want to know if you think this is a good observation. Do you think the game size is integral to how the actual match performs? Do you think if you've got a smaller player count, less things going off, you're going to get a smoother performance and a better game out of it? So definitely leave me your thoughts on that down below. I also want to briefly mention as well, I do have a Mumble server now. This is something that both Spanjay and Dolce have said I can feel free to use to play with you guys. So if you guys want to play with me and want to talk to me, we'll try and get these interactions up because I think it's great to interact with new people. There's a link in the description on how you can get into our Mumble server. And all I'll do is, if you follow me on Twitter, I will tweet when I'll be going into that Mumble server in order to play with you guys. There's also private rooms. I might go in there to talk to my friends in the private rooms. And when you first join, you'll be stuck in the first room. Don't be concerned, that's just so we can get all your audio set up before we move you into the public rooms. But yeah, if you want to get involved, there's a link below to a video about that. But leave me your thoughts on this topic. Do you think game size has an integral effect on the way a match plays out on Battlefield 4? Do you think it greatly impacts the performance? But until next time, you guys take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you all very soon.